What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking down stage 9 of the VEGETA'S family, or the VEGETA'S story red zone here. We've got a special mission to go along with this one, so it looks like they want us to clear this with a full final trump card build. So we have got one of those put together. It's going to be a 10th anniversary version of the team here. Obviously there's a lot of like sub teams you can do on final trump card, so this is just like a pure Saiyan Fuse Fighter version of it. We're going to attempt to go ahead and no item this. I might as well take off the Ghost Usher. I really don't think that we're going to need it. And I guess for the first couple of attempts at least, I would be fine taking some KOs before we ultimately decide to like throw items in. But this is going to be a decently long fight. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 phases we're going to be looking at. So we're going to have quite a bit of time to stack, and we do have a lot of stacking units on here. We've got 4 out of 6 units that we would normally be taking into the festival battles, right? So lots of good stackers on the team. We're going to go ahead and prioritize the VEGETA'S, I think, rather than Gogeta. Probably going to be the best way to do everything here. Just considering like how the strength of the units that we want at the end of the fight and stuff, right? Gogeta's mainly going to be here for his active skill providing the support, whereas the Vegeta is the one that's going to be doing actually all the damage with the target skill mechanic and all the counters and stuff, so I want to make sure to have him built up as much as possible just to take down those final couple of phases. But yeah, it's probably going to be not too difficult here. Okay, so on this first phase, the like a boss ability we're dealing with is that he's got a raised damage reduction rate before receiving 6 attacks. So interesting. And then it implies 99 turns with that. I don't know if that implies that that's an ability that's going to reset at the start of every turn, or if it's just straight up after 6 attacks that ability goes away and then we don't have to deal with it anymore. So I guess we'll see as time goes on here. But we are going to be doing a lot of additionals, so I think it is possible that on most turns we could do more than 6 attacks, right? But yeah, so there we go. It looks like already we are starting to see, at least that last attack was definitely post the 6 where he would get the damage reduction loss, right? So yeah, we'll see at the beginning of the next turn how that's looking. Obviously, we're going to have like the LR Super Saiyan 4s on rotation and stuff, so they're probably going to be doing more damage anyway. But yeah, we'll see how this looks. So yeah, as far as our rotations for the next turn, it might even be wise for us to keep... So, like, I know I was saying I want to prioritize the VEGETA'S, but I think it might be wise to keep these two on rotation together just because they share Saiyan Roar. Yeah, that could be a good idea for sure. I think I probably will do that. And then for now we can keep him slot 2, just so he's got more links active, but then if we ever need him slot 1... I mean, both of these units are going to be pretty fine defensively, so I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference here. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can tell if that damage reduction is active again. Or if it's like permanently gone now because of the 6 attacks that were dished out on turn 1. Okay, I mean he has type disadvantage, so kind of hard to tell for sure. But I think that was like reduced enough. He probably does have that ability active again. So it seems like maybe it is going to be every turn it will activate. So you've got to do more than 6 attacks within the turn to... No, see, I don't know, because that didn't really look like he has the damage reduction active. I think maybe it was just because we only had the 12 key and he's got type disadvantage. That's probably what it was. He also didn't get the extra stat buffs from being hit in slot 1 before attacking and stuff. Yeah. So I think the ability probably is gone at this point. Nonetheless, either way, it looks like it's probably just going to be one more turn after this. Or maybe just this turn that we end up finishing this guy off. And moving on to Phase 2. Which it looks like in Phase 2 we do get a bit of a break. There's no special boss abilities that we have to worry about. Just a straight up fight. And it looks like The next fight, it's going to be against Ribrianne. She can actually be stunned and sealed. Interesting. And then her super attack effect is going to be lowering our attack and defense by 20%. Oh, she does AoEs. I see. Got it. That's what we're going to be dealing with on the next phase, is AoEs. Okay. This team is honestly not built perfectly for that. I actually missed that boss ability when I was reading through to see like what we were going to be facing off against when I was building the team initially. Well, dang. Okay. So yeah, obviously the Vegito is in the third slot as the unit that's going to suffer the most from the AoEs. That is not a unit that wants to get hit before attacking. So maybe it would be wisest for me to just put him in slot 1. And just let him take that like normal, hopefully it's a normal, up front, and then go from there. Yeah, probably the best way. And then with these guys, I want to get a couple of rainbow orbs for sure. We didn't get the 20 key though with them. Get the extra additional. No big deal though. I don't think it's going to affect us too much here. Yeah, if he's taking that much just from a normal, let's see, her normals do like 600k. Okay, so I guess the AoEs do the same as the normals. Like the very first attack of the AoE does 600k, and then from the second hit onward, they only do 300k. So actually, it would have been better to have him in the third slot then. Because we just got hit by that attack for 600k, and it did like 24,000 to us, whereas the AoE he would have been hit with would have hit half as hard when he's in slot 3. But this works out better because then I can still keep the rotations that I want, right? This way I can still keep my stacking units on rotation. Since Gotenks isn't stacking, I'm not really super hard-pressed to have him on rotation right now. I'd rather prioritize these early turns, being able to stack up as much as we can, and then a little bit later in the fight, if it's necessary, and we're lacking the slot 1 units, then we could potentially throw Gotenks up front. Tank a little bit for us. But for now, I think we'll be fine, as is. Okay, so this is the point where I could potentially make a choice to keep the Gogeta on rotation here. It's just an option that I'm entertaining. To give him the ability to stack up a little bit more. Okay, but the thing is we have a slot 1 AoE. I think I'm actually not going to do that. The AoE is kind of messing us up a little bit. The maybe on the next rotation I'll opt for this. Like keeping Gogeta on rotation. Yeah, maybe like the next phase. We'll see, we'll see. But for now, I think we're probably just going to leave it like this. And then their defense... I definitely don't want to transform with the Super Saiyan 4s or the Gods yet. I'd rather give them more chances to stack. Yeah, their defense is just going to get higher and higher as we go here, so... Okay, so yeah, I will admit I'm a little bit worried about that third slot. We're definitely going to take damage. Probably not enough to matter, though. Oh, okay, I guess they are still just tanking. No worries, then. I guess these AoEs are just weak enough that that's not really a problem. If anything, it seems like those AoEs are placed there to help you. You know, if you have the type of units that need to take a lot of hits in order to gain abilities in their passive or something, this could be the type of phase that is advantageous because there's a lot more attacks being dished out because of the AoEs, and they're not really hitting very hard, where we're actually in danger of, like, being KO'd from them or anything. Like, one unit that comes to mind is the Int Evolution Blue Vegeta. If we were doing, like, a Universe Survival Saga build, for him to get enough hits in to activate his Revival ability, to have that active for later in the fight. Okay, so it looks like we probably have 1, maybe 2 more turns on this phase. Probably just 1, though. Yeah. Especially with the additionals we get here. Yeah, it's just going to be 1 more turn here. And then we'll be on to the next phase against a Catopesla enemy. It looks like the main ability that the Catopesla has is he gets 300% attack for the first turn that he's on rotation. Okay. And then he also seals on super. That's another thing we'll have to keep in mind. Okay, lots of active skills available. Again, we don't want to use anything yet. We're still going to keep stacking up with all these guys. The tricky thing here... I mean, I guess we know this unit doesn't really hit hard enough to actually... Well, the thing is, if she supers us, that's 1.6 million damage. We would take a KO from either of the Super Saiyan Gokus here, so I think we kind of have to, just to be safe, have to put the gods in slot 1. So they might just end up finishing off this phase on their own. But if not, who's got lower defense between the two? They do. Okay, so we're going to keep them on rotation then, just to prioritize stacking their defense. Well, they're only stacking attack in this form, actually. Should I maybe even switch them? We'll consider that on the next rotation. I think for now we're just going to keep going like this. Yeah, that should work out fine for us. But yeah, because remember, we're going to be getting the infinite stacks of defense if we tag switch them. But prior to that, we're just getting the stacks of attack, so... That is just going to make the Vegito transformations a little bit, like, that much stronger for us, right? And I think, so as long as we can survive the first turn of Catopesla, then he is immediately going to turn into a very wimpy enemy. The same way as this Ribrianne. So I think the name of the game is going to be to try to survive that raw, if we can. And then we only have 2 phases left after that where we can prioritize all of our transformations and active skills and then just destroy through those last 2 phases. Because looking ahead at it, it looks like those last 2 phases do hit quite hard. To where we could be in real danger of taking some KOs from super attacks, right? Alright, perfect. So now, on to Catopesla, we've got his normals hit for 300,000 and his super attack hits for 840k, but he has 300% of that right now. So his normals are actually hitting for 900,000, and his super attack damage is going to be like 2.4 million. Okay, and then his cooldown is 9, he's got a 15% chance to proc the super. Oh, well, we actually get very lucky here because we have a really, really nice defensive rotation. I don't think we're actually in danger of... Yeah, we're really not in danger of much here. I think we're kind of chilling. Okay, so let's grab these orbs. I definitely want him up front because he has the extra damage reduction in slot 1. That's going to be, like, really necessary for him. I still want to withhold transforming for a little bit longer if we can here. So yeah, we'll just go for the full super for them, and then post-super they should have enough defense to tank a super attack coming in, and then obviously we know Gotenks will be fine against that stuff too. Okay, we should be safe here no matter what. And then there we go. Because there was no slot 1 super, now his sealing effect on super attack effect is not going to do much to us. Just because it's a 1-turn seal and everybody's going to get the super before he attacks them anyway. Okay, no super in slot 1. See if it happens in slot 2 here. Our attack stats are actually starting to look decent with the Super Saiyan 4s, which is nice. Hopefully post-transformation, we're just going to be absolutely beasting on the enemy here. The HP pools aren't going to be rising. Oh, actually, they do rise. So for the next phase, they're going to be about the same. Right now, we're dealing with 140 million, and then the next phase is 150 million. But this phase only has 65% damage reduction, whereas the next phase against Topo is going to be 73% damage reduction. So yeah, it's going to take us a little bit longer to get through there. And then on the final phase, we have 350 million HP against Jiren. So that's where it's going to be really important to proc the Vegito transformation, right? And get like one of those turns in with the massive counterattack damage and all of that. So yeah, if we can strategically line it up well, then the most ideal way to do things would be to have on the Topo phase, we launch one of the Vegetos and then finish off the phase with them. And then on the very next turn, we have a Vegito and Gogeta set up where we can do both of them in the same turn, right? Against Jiren. And hopefully one turn him as well. Okay, so let's see here. Do we need to... I don't think we need to worry about defense. Just because we're going to have all these active skills coming up and stuff, they're probably going to carry us. I can imagine we can pretty much focus on attack alone. Oh, the next phase locks character switching. Okay. Because the next phase locks character switching, I think I am actually gonna try to prioritize a couple of defensive stacks in here. I won't worry about the defense stacks for this guy, because if he's in slot 2 or 3, then we know he'll be fine to be in this form. But then if he gets locked in slot 1, I can always tag switch him, and then he has all of the dodge capability, right? So we don't really need to worry about his defense too much. Oh, though... No, we're not canceling dodge until the very final phase. Okay. So yeah, I think overall this should work out for us. This should work out fine. Let's see. We can't really get very many orbs, though, this turn. That's a little bit awkward. I guess if we grab these, we can at least get the 20 key with the gods. Yeah. Okay, well, this is definitely going to hurt since they didn't even tank that normal for double digits, right? But all the damage reduction is going to make it so that there's not an astronomical difference between the normals and supers, right? Like, if you're dealing with a unit that is only depending on defense in order to tank attacks, and you see them take, like, what he's taking now, like, you know, 4 digits, like 5 digits from a normal, and then you see them get supered, they are absolutely going to get KO'd from the super. The super is going to do like 700k, 800k, a million to them, right? But when you're dealing with damage reduction, just the way that those end up calculating, you can actually be taking a little bit of damage from normals and then not be that hindered by like a super attack damage from, you know, through the same damage reduction. Basically, like, the overall difference in damage that you take is less with damage reduction than just depending on defense. Okay, so starting next turn, we're going to need to prioritize same type orbs here a little bit, just to try and get that push in back. Our HP is looking a little bit low now to where we could end up dying from something silly. But yeah, if we can help it, we would rather not take that KO, obviously, right? Okay, and then it looks like this is going to be the last turn for us to be able to set up. And then, yeah, we're going to be moving into Topo after this. So because of that, I think now is where we start to change up the rotation. Because, okay, so if we move on to Topo, I guess, we have to think about if we can assume a 1-turn clear on Topo or not. Oh, no, I guess it actually doesn't matter. Yeah, either way, the right idea is to leave the Vegito on rotation here, because we just rotated off the Gogeta. So he's going to be coming back around onto this rotation, and then when he arrives on this rotation in 2 turns from now, that's when we can do the Vegito and Gogeta transformation. So then on the next turn, I guess we'll just see where we're at next turn, if we want to proc one of the transformations or not. Let's see, what's their defense at? 1.8? Yeah, it's just straight up higher than his super attack damage, so worst case scenario, they get sealed and we don't do any damage with them. But we know for a fact they're at least going to tank whatever super comes out, so that's good. And then, oh shoot, should I prioritize maybe doing like I don't think it's going to matter. I think we can just continue on offensively here. Probably be fine. And then we'll grab these for a little bit of healing there. Since we didn't get that lucky with the same type orb selection for the turn. Okay, no super. Perfect. There we go. Now this phase should be over for sure. Alright, and then we'll just see what kind of nasty character switching we're looking at next turn. Lucky for us, our Vegeto's not being rotated off. That's helpful, but I'm a little bit scared about the LR Gods being forced into slot 3 there. If they get locked there, that's going to be bad for us. And in fact, because Gotenks is the one that we want to rotate off, it'll suck if Gotenks gets locked too. Basically, the only lock that's going to work out for us is if we get a slot 2 lock on Vegeto. That's the only thing that's going to be helpful. Everything else would be a detriment to us. Okay, but yeah, now we're confirmed to be able to move on to the next phase here. And actually, with that normal attack damage we just took, we're below 50%, which is really, really big. That is actually massively helpful. Because now we can proc the LR Gods active skill to transform them, and we can proc their active skill to do damage as well here. Which, yeah, it looks like we're going to need to. Okay, so they're locked in slot 3. So, okay. I'm just trying to think about the best possible way. Okay, because we know we have the Vegeto Gogeta next turn. That's going to be the like most heavy damaging thing that we can possibly do. We can probably one-turn Jiren with that, especially because we've got the LR Super Saiyan 4s. So if we remain below 50%, they're going to be able to proc their active skill as well and stuff. We've got a lot of damage coming next turn. So the idea is to get Jiren, to get 2 Jiren by next turn. So I think we just want to go ahead and drop all of our everything we can do right now, right? So then starting out, we'll go ahead and transform them. Now we have them into blues. That is perfect. Let's go ahead and get Vegeto out. Okay. Oh, yeah, wrong order of operations. I forgot about the heal. Let me go ahead and reset the app, and then we'll do this in the proper order so we can get the actual active skill super. Okay, so we'll get some free damage in here with the LR Gods. Perfect. That's actually more damage than I was even expecting or hoping for, so that's really good. Especially because we still have this to launch with Gotenks to get some extra damage in here, and then some more defense for him for the turn, which is nice. Which is actually not even going to make a difference, right? Because when we do the Vegeto transformation, we are going to have a target all, right? So he, with the target skill mechanic, he's just going to be taking all of the damage to himself. Okay, and then we get even some more damage here from his active skill. Yeah, there's no way Topo survives this turn. We are absolutely going to KO him here, right? And then we'll go ahead and put Vegeto slot 1. So again, it sucks a little bit that we have to rotate the gods off, but ideally speaking, he's probably not going to... We probably only have 1 turn left before the entire fight's over anyway. So yeah, that shouldn't be too big of a deal for us in the end. Alright, with each of these attacks that we take, we're getting our crit chance moving up, so he's just going to do more and more damage. Awesome. And then, obviously, after all this super attack damage, his counters are going to be hitting even harder. So yeah, Topo definitely stands no chance here. So I guess the one thing that hurts us with this transformation is that we did get the full heal. So now when we have the, full enemy HP bar on the next turn against Jiren, the LR Super Saiyan 4s are not going to be able to proc their secondary active skill once we turn them into Gogeta, right, to do the extra damage and get, like, guaranteed crits for the turn and stuff. So that will be a little bit of a hindrance, but I can't imagine it's even going to matter. With the double 10th anniversary Dokkan Fest transformation rotation next turn, we're probably, gonna just clutch out the win either way. I guess I didn't even mention it just because we were so safe for this whole turn, but it was definitely worthwhile for us to do that because this Topo, his normals hit for 1.6 million and his super attack damage is 4.6 million. So yeah, quite a lot of heavy damage he could have done for us, and then it just went up even more. So it looks like Jiren's HP pool is massive, like 3 times what we just dealt with. I guess 2 times what we just dealt with, 350 million. And then his attack stat is 2 million, and his super attack damage is 5.7 million. He does have a 12 attack cooldown, but he's also got a 30% chance to proc the super. So pretty high chances for that to happen. And then on this phase, he now is disabling dodge. And he has a damage threshold. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's a lot we're dealing with here. Okay, he gets some subtractive defense after receiving 4 attacks in the turn. So that shouldn't be too hard, especially with all of the counter-attack damage that we're about to do, right? Okay, so very first order of business, we'll go ahead and get the LR Super Saiyan 4s out here. No reason why not. Okay, and then, yeah, we can do the same for Vegito and Gogeta, right? Let's just get them both out. So we've got the Gogeta out. Let's get Vegito out first before we launch the damaging active skills. The reason being, we're going to have more links active with all Vegetos and Gogetas here. Okay, so first we'll do the Gogeta one, since this one provides the attack support to the rotation. There we go. So it'll do damage on its own, plus buffing up the damage, or the attack power of Vegito for the turn. So now this active skill is going to do even more damage. And then with this active skill active, we now get another turn of the, the target skill. So all of these normal attacks that Jiren is doing are going to be hit with a massive amount of, counter-attack damage throughout the turn. Let's see. And then link-wise, it probably makes more sense to have these two together. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So we'll do this. And then, oh, would you look at that? Look at where that Dokkan gauge is at. I wonder if we can actually make that pop here. Oh, man. See, I want to grab all of these for the AGL Gogeta. But, oh, that really sucks. So we would either have to lose a bunch of links for the turn to get the same type orbs, or we would have to get a pitiful orb selection of literally just 2 orbs and no rainbow orbs for the AGL Gogeta, or we have to sacrifice getting the Dokkan attack this turn, because I don't think we're going to pop it unless we get some same type orbs here. I wish it was selecting the reds. That would be so much better. What do we sacrifice? I think we're probably not going to need the Dokkan attack. That's what my hunch is telling me. So we'll just do this to get the most damaging attack we can get from Gogeta and then from him as well. Perfect. Yeah, dang, we would have needed one more. Just if we had a same type orb selection at all on the turn, we would have been fine, right? And then obviously we're going to be okay tanking this super. We are sealed for the turn, which does hurt a little bit, right? Obviously, the counterattack damage is still going to be very high. We are stacking attack on every single one of these attacks that we take, but now we're not going to be able to launch super attacks to buff our attack power for the turn even more, right? So yeah, that does hurt us a little bit overall, but there's still so many counterattacks to come for the turn. We're still going to be able to provide quite a bit of damage here. Yeah, especially because, again, each one of them is going to hit harder than the last. But it would have been cool if we did proc that Dokkan attack, because then because of the super attack seal that just happened, the Dokkan attack would have been proccing here with the type advantage Gogeta, and he would have been dealing a massive amount of damage here, right? Which, again, was kind of a paradox with having to select a minimal amount of orbs with him in order to get the Dokkan attack in the first place. It probably would have been an even trade at that point. So, definitely okay with what we went with. Alright, and then now time to see, what was it, like 8 more counterattacks coming in, something like that. And again, that attack is still increasing as we go. Kinda ridiculous. The cool part is, even if he managed to survive, we still have a Vegito on the next turn. Though he won't have the target skill mechanic anymore, we could put him in slot 1, and he's still going to be fine to tank, and then all of the counterattack damage on top of his normal super attack damage and stuff is going to KO the turn for sure, right? But yeah, it looks like we're not even going to see that point. We are fully depleting his health just here with all of these counterattacks. And then obviously we need to do a super attack to finish it off, so the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is going to finish it up. And then there we go. We managed to take down the fight before even getting to launch that Dokkan attack. Oh yeah, I guess we still had that coming on the next turn as well, as another little way to help us, right? Potentially could have even just crushed the Potara. Or, well, they were already transformed into Vegito, so we wouldn't have had that option, but there we go. Easy peasy stuff. Not too difficult of a clear there. And then we got all the missions done for Stage 9 as well, which also gives us access to the new support memory there. That's pretty cool. What are the effects of the support memory? Neat. Okay, Power Beyond Super Saiyan gets a bit of a buff here in battle. Not bad, not bad. Okay, and then there's a support memory boost for it as well, which I assume is probably going to come from like later missions or... Yeah, the support memory boost for it comes from clearing all the missions from Stage 10. Interesting. Okay. Well, that is going to go ahead and finish it up for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.